My name is Joel. I don't know if I've met each and every one of you. I'm sure I've corresponded with you somehow, either digitally or in person. I think Laura's probably the one who talks to most of you more than I do now. So it's nice to finally put a face with a username, as they say. What we're going to do now is open the kimono and show you the new platform. So the first thing you'll notice, there's a couple of things here. One is that you said that you want more presence on the site. So some people said, we don't want people to think that they've just joined HealthUnlocked. We want them to know that they've joined, for instance, the National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society. So what we've done is we've made it so that your branding will appear on every page. You might have seen this in some of the blog posts that we put out. But it stands out quite a lot more. So when we go throughout the website, you'll see that on every page, it's obvious this is the National Rheumatoid Arthritis or NCT or whatever community. The other thing is fairly minor, but we've changed the word blogs to posts. Blog was probably not actually the appropriate term to be using. It worked in the beginning whenever we thought the site was going in a certain direction, but with the new world of technology, we think that posts actually works better, and it's a language and a vernacular that people are used to using. You'll notice that there's some stuff missing right here. So we've moved some stuff into the profile, which I'll show you later, but it means that it doesn't have to appear here at the top of your page, so there's more real estate for you to be able to see content and that sort of thing. And so we know that from our testing that these two buttons are used quite a lot, but those were the main ones, so there wasn't reason to keep the other things that were there. So you get an idea. The other thing is that the latest activity now isn't just divided in a small column and a small column of blogs and questions, but now it's all activity. So the reason that we've done this is because we know that when communities start, it can look quite bare when they first begin. So they have 5, 10, 15 members, and those members might put a few blogs, they might put a few questions, but for the most part it looks like things aren't happening. When in reality, sometimes things are happening, but what's happening is the commenting on those blogs and questions. So it's a way to help communities in the beginning kickstart it by showing things are happening so that when people get there, they can start interacting immediately. I'm going to have to bounce back and forth because you can't really click through a website like the same way that you can a slide presentation. So the next thing I'll show you is the posts. There we go. And you can immediately see a few things. You can browse by categories. So we have these categories that Laura was mentioning before. There on the right-hand side. And those are things that you can set, obviously. So you can determine what those are. But you can use those. You can browse by them on the top left, right here. So that makes information easily findable. Then you have your pinned posts here on the right-hand side. So a lot of you have asked for this. So we asked you what you would use this for. A number of you said that you would use it to put things like your community guidelines or things like that. We envision that you could find some information that's quite helpful to other users or questions that are asked quite a lot, and that you would pin them in that position. So you can use that for whatever you want, but the idea is that it's there for your use, and then categories are there for your use as well.
Can I just ask, are the categories user-generated or are they defined by the admins?
Defined by the admins. Yeah, that's right. And I'll show you where that happens.
What will happen with existing posts on the platform?
They'll be moved into uncategorized.
Okay.
So if you want to, you can go back and you can categorize any of those you want. For some of you, that would be a pretty big job to do.
Yeah.
Can you categorize some posts in more than one category?
No, it has to be categorized in one or the other. Yeah. Any other questions? Hit me.
Nobody kimonos altered.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I appreciate the courtesy. Yes.
The RSS feeds.
Yes.
Can you just provide what we're talking about? The RSS feeds just to point to certain categories, or do the RSS feeds point to everything?
That's a great question. Right now, the RSS feeds point to everything. It might be that we can point them just to a certain category, though.
Or to miss out things like the joke section or
yeah. I think I'm not a techie, but I'm sure that you could do that actually. We'd probably have to do one or two things in the back, but it's essentially just a link to a given area. So we can already link to just questions or just blogs. So I can't see why in the future we wouldn't be able to link to just a category. Pending. Yeah, don't hold me to that. Create a post. So this will look similar to the way it does now. You have your title, the body. You can add an image. But then here are the categories that you would choose from. And like I said, as defined by the admin. And then just the way it is now, who can view this? Everyone, for members of this community only. So that determines what Google can see and what people who aren't signed in can see. Then you can preview that post, which is still obviously the same. Yep.
Will there be an option for multiple photos, or will it still just be one photo?
Right now it's one photo.
Will that be available in questions and posts now, or will it just still be posts?
It's still just posts right now.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's good.
No, I mean, thank you. Meaning questions and posts or just posts?
I think it's helpful in questions if someone's got a rash or a physical symptom that they want to ask about, it could be useful.
Exactly what you said today, isn't it? So, moving on to what a post looks like once it's been posted. It's very similar, but the idea is that before you had that very little picture in the top left-hand corner, and you almost thought, why bother? You can't really even see what it is. If you're trying to use that picture to make a point or stimulate some kind of conversation, well, now we've tried to make those a bit bigger so that it's a bit more visually stimulating. Another byproduct, which we're quite pleased with, is this ability to... I didn't choose these for comedy value, but you're allowed to laugh. They're like school kids, testicles. We're a health platform. The idea is that every time you post a new post or a new question, we have these databases now on the backside of the website. So a list of conditions, of symptoms, of treatments, and quite a lot of other things. Anytime those things are mentioned in a post, we'll now automatically tag your posts for you. So a lot of you spend time tagging posts, a lot of you don't bother, but the bottom line is that we'll now do that for you. And what that means is that... Say?
Will that do, once you switch over, will that retrospectively tag posts that already exist?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
There's no reason why that.
Joe, sorry, how does it do that again? It picks it out, did you say that?
Is it
Yeah, that's
picking
right.
out words? Is that...
Yes, that's right. So we have databases in the back end of the website, which are lists of conditions, lists of symptoms, lists of treatments, and some other things like GP surgeries, hospitals in the UK, that sort of thing. I mean, presumably we could put any listing of thing we want in there, but that's what's in there for now. And then it pulls any of those words that are used out and tags them automatically. With time, we'll be able to do that with misspellings of words. We'll be able to do that with sort of common vernacular for words, so that it automatically tags the appropriate condition. If you say, you know, itchy bum, it'll give you whatever the appropriate term is for that condition. Yeah, that's right. So this can be quite powerful because it not only just alleviates the job of having to go in and tag them, it means that this tagging system will happen across the entire platform. So it means that the information will be unified. You're beginning to build up a knowledge base, not just for this condition, but one that spreads across the entire platform. And then you can do things like, with more accuracy, say, related posts, because it could be that another post in this community talks about methotrexate or whatever the drug is, or whatever the condition, or whatever the symptom is. So it gives us the ability to intelligently recommend content based on the content that you'll be reading already. We've talked about having a place where you can see all posts across all communities for a given term, but it's that posts that are recommended within your platform, within your community, that will only be your content. So it could be the case that in the future, if you wanted to see everything on methotrexate in the platform, you might be able to do that, or B12, whatever else. So let me show you another thing on this page, which hopefully less controversial. Oops, sorry.
Joel, very quickly, is there a word limit to any of the kind of posts or questions? Because I noticed that was quite long.
There will be on titles, but not, I don't think on actual posts, and I think there might be on questions. I can't remember exactly what the word count is though.
Hopefully they'll realise that they will often get less responses if they've got an incredibly long post.
Yeah.
That is one of our regular users, and she's always posting like that, but most of them are not that.
I'll have a word with her. So that patients and users can find what other people have found to be most helpful in that post, whether it's the post itself or the comment. Let's look at polls. The same, hey, yeah, there you are. Basically the same function, but let's see. Bear with me, the internet on this side of the room isn't as fast as on the other side of the room. See, just looks a bit different. But members is slightly different. I think some of you had like 66 pages of members where you could just scroll through member by member. We've changed it slightly, so you can still find any member you want by typing in here, and it'll appear, you know, as soon as you type. But one thing we want to do is to start creating incentive for people to use the platform. So we want people to want to be the top responders, top posters in the community. And so we want them to show up on this thing, and we want them, in many respects, to compete to be there. So that with time, they're the top poster or they're the top responder. That way, you know, just incentivize the engagement, the number of people who respond, the number of people who post posts, that sort of thing. And then just joins seems like a good feature based on our research and based on what we think users want, so that you can welcome people to the community, so that any member of the community can come to this page and go to Woolly or Dog Rose and say welcome to the community, and try to draw those community members out so that they too become engaged in what's happening on the platform. So we tried to enhance your presence not just with branding, but also giving you this About Us section on the site. So this in the main navigation, it was sort of hidden away on the homepage, but in a very small link, the About Us, and it wasn't very visible. So now we have a description of who you are, which you can put there. The people in your organization that are on the site, some of those will be admins, some will just be working for the organization, but will be there. Some contact information. Sometimes we get called and they say, can I speak to Ruth? And I'm like, this isn't interesting, you're going to have to call. You're going to have to call them. And then support us for a donate button. And again, we'll test sort of where these things should go, specifically the donate button, if it should go elsewhere in the community. But you'll be able to click the donate button and be taken through to whatever page you've specified on your site, so that people can donate there.
Can we change that from donate to something else if we do that, if we use different terminology?
Like support,
become a member or support us or something?
You might be able to. We've been discussing that internally. I'll get back to you on that, because I don't honestly know what the answer to that is.
Is that, and you said we select where it goes today?
Yes, you select where it goes.
Right, or maybe support us or something.
we-
We don't do donation.
You can send it there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We'd support us or get involved, or I don't know, something that donate wouldn't really work for us.
Got a new admin section. So there's a number of things here. This will probably change slightly, but the idea is, I don't know if you use other tools for analytics and that sort of thing, but with time, you learn what this number is. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I reach under my pillow, I grab my iPhone, and I look at the email that tells me how many members joined Health Unlocked in total in the last 24 hours. And I come accustomed to learning what that number is, and so I go, oh, that's good, or that's bad, or It's always good, don't worry. But you'll do the same. You'll log into your admin section and you'll learn what that number is supposed to be, because there will be a norm for you, especially if you're sort of regularly contributing to the site. You'll see, oh yeah, 7 for yesterday is quite normal, or that's super low, or 20 is normal, or whatever. And then you'll be able to start comparing how you're doing for that day. So that's the idea, that it'll just give you a snapshot. Some of these numbers will change. I think we're going to add some stuff to this page as well. The idea is that you'll have an overview. The home page is the bullet points on the front, so I won't show you that. The About Us page is what I just showed you on the About Us page. So this says, in the support box. So right here it says that you can, like I said, that's in discussion. Badges. So you can now edit the badges. A lot of you have changed the sort of admin and the volunteer, and then your truncated badge, whether it's in Rss or BLF or something. You wanted something different. So you now have the ability to change those and create new ones. And for some of you, you've really been asking for that. Some of you have asked less for that. But you can now have a bit more flexibility there. So it means if you have a doctor or a nurse or some other category that you want to be recognized in the platform by identifying people, you can do that there. Categories. So this is who can post to categories. Yeah, pretty straightforward. These are the categories you've made. These are the people that can post in that category. Admins can post in all categories, and so on and so forth. Assign badges. So those badges that you created can then be assigned to people. There's the example there. Restrict users. Hate to have to build this function, but sometimes we do. So you can find the user there and then restrict them quite quickly, or you can see all list of restricted users, which is a community by community thing. Analytics, this might go back to a comment that was made earlier. So now you can begin to find out a bit more granular information about your community itself. So breakdown of age, gender, new members over a given period of time. Similar things with content, questions, posts, polls, votes on polls, content by category. You can see what's the most popular category just by coming here. These will evolve, I think, a lot and quite quickly. A lot based on your feedback. So as you use it and say, this wasn't helpful, this was helpful, we'll begin experimenting to see what we can do. Yes?
Could you possibly introduce something like Google Analytics where you could select, say, a certain month, and then just look at the analytics for that month or that week or whatever?
Yeah, it could be that we do that in the future. We won't do that at release. In fact, these might come right after release. It might be the first thing we build after releasing the new platform. But the idea is that we'll give you something that's really useful, but it'll evolve with time. So it might be that that's the case in the future. We're still speccing it out. But a lot of it will depend on your feedback, actually. So if you say that's useful to us, then we'll look into building it. And then a get started section. This is going to change most definitely. But right now you have a section which helps you launch your community, and that will be where this is. But it'll look quite a lot different than that. That is more or less the platform. The community's changes. We also have a profile for users. So the information that we're collecting here is more or less the same, except for now we're collecting the same kinds of things that we're auto-tagging in the communities. So conditions, symptoms, treatments, and health interests. Health interests might be if you have a parent with Parkinson's and you look after them. It's not your condition, symptom, or treatment, but it might be something that you're interested in. So this allows us, if we want in the future, to be able to recommend content to individual users. So the content that we've tagged throughout the entire platform, if we find that it's helpful for users to have that information who have rheumatoid arthritis, or it could be that just based on their health interests, they could be recommended content as well. So that's the idea. So we're collecting that now, and with the ability to match them with things that they find most helpful
Would,
Yeah,
sorry, would members be able to search for other members with, say, the same symptoms as them or on the same treatments if they wanted to ask them about it?
I'm opening my kimono very wide, Paul. Yes, probably so. So that is the idea. So we want the platform to be as useful to people as possible, but in order for it to be as useful as possible, they have to give us information so that we can find something out about them so that we can then recommend something to them. So funnily enough, people do complete their profile more if you have these status bars here. So we put that there, and we're also probably going to introduce a feature which says find other members like me so that they can converse about their symptoms, treatments, and conditions. And that might be a condition of, you getting that might be a condition of having filled out your profile or something like that. So we are thinking through that.
Are any of these essential, what am I trying to say, compulsory? People have to fill them in, or are you planning on,
They don't have to fill them in. Not right now, they don't. So they don't have to add a condition, symptom, treatment, or health interest. And anything they add in here, they can make private. So that sort of leads on to the idea that they have a public profile as well. So hopefully it's something that they would want to share. Right now you can't see someone's profile if you're not a member of the community. But since it's their choice as to whether they can make this information public or private with regard to each post, with regard to their about me, their conditions, all of it. Since they choose whether it's public or private, we thought give them the ability to show people. So they could send this to family members who could come here and follow their most recent activity if they wanted to do that, or do whatever they want with it. But it just gives them a bit more of a presence if they want to have it. And you can sort. That's basically it. If you're a member of more than one community, your mail will be collected in one mailbox. I'm sure some of you have been not loving the 2 mailboxes, but that's the final thing.
Giving members, this has been discussed in our community, giving members the opportunity to block certain other members who they don't like. Is that?
Yeah, I didn't discuss it because it's not going to be in release 1, but we are thinking along those lines. What it means to follow other users, what it means to report them, what it means to block them, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of thinking and testing that needs to go into those features. So we are thinking along those lines.
Yeah.
The categories, would you be able to block one of them from other people posting in it? So if I put one of them as Lupus UK blog, would other people be able to put stuff in it, or would I be able to block it from others using it?
Yeah, you could set the permission so that only, say, admins can post into that. Yep.
Right.
Will we be able to block other categories? Just thinking, if we want to end a particular blog because we think it's just run its course.
Shut a blog down.
Yeah. Rather
close
than
a thread,
delete it,
Yeah,
you could leave it there and just say like.
Yeah, close the thread.
You should be able to. I can't remember if it's release 1 or after release 1,
Right, okay.
but that's coming regardless.
So
Great.
that's great. That actually sort of probably moved very much into the workshop.